All right, happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome on into the daily broadcast. Hope your day has gone well. Hope your week is going well. Man, we had the winds kicking up here in West Texas as the day went on. Gave us a painted desert sunset. I took a picture of it. We might post it on our Facebook page later on tonight. But it was getting a little nasty out there. That's fine. That's all right. It's late January. We're gonna have some days like that. Now we got a lot of stuff going on the show tonight. Glad you're with us. We got Tech basketball streaking, but they're under the radar, and we like the fact they're under the radar. We'll get your thoughts on the win over TCU last night. Over underrated right Thursday. Today's topic: Lubbock barbecue. Give us overrated, underrated, and rated right Lubbock barbecue. Over the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years, we've had an explosion of barbecue places in Lubbock after kind of going through a dearth of years where we didn't have a lot of great barbecue. So, who's overrated? Who's underrated? Who's rated right? Super Bowl hype. We have to do this every day. The Super Bowl question: the first Super Bowl you remember watching as a kid? I mean, really remember watching. All right. Which one is it? And then I've got some thoughts on the DC air disaster and the collision last night between the Black Hawk helicopter and the American Airlines flight. I got some thoughts on that. I flew around this country pretty constantly for about 3 decades, and I never liked it. And it was one of the reasons why I walked away from doing Texas Tech play-by-play, or at least it made it a whole lot easier for me to walk away. So I'll give you some of my thoughts on that today. And, if you want to jump in, you can do the same thing. All right. Let's do it in three, in two. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt. TheRaiderland.com is where you start your day. You started it today. We got our Raiderland hot links ready to go. Give you our Friday column tomorrow when you go there. Most Texan thing you've done. We're brought to you tonight here in West Texas by the Shropshire Agency. Independent, just like West Texans. They can handle your insurance needs in 2025 and beyond. I mean, great West Texans, locally owned and operated for a couple of generations now. I mean, we're going on like 60, nearly 70 years, I think, with the Shropshire Agency. Check out their Facebook page. They do tremendous work. They're great partners in the community. Also, today, we got a snow dump in Red River, New Mexico. That means Lifts West Hotel and Condominium is more than ready for you for your February ski trip, for your spring break ski trip, but you got to call now. I mean, they're going to fill up fast. So call my man Billy Hurst there at Lifts West. Tell him you said hey from Raiderland. Tell him we sent you. And then after he quits laughing, he'll probably take, and no, not probably, he'll take care of you pretty good. But check out Lifts West Hotel and Condominium. It's as close as you can get to ski in and ski out in Red River. I mean, it's walking distance to the mountain if you're in better shape than I am. Me, I would drive the truck over there. But hey, you guys might throw the skis over the shoulder and do what you're going to do. All the communications tonight brought to you by United Supermarkets, Market Street. There's one supermarket in West Texas that takes care of Texas Tech. There's another one that'll be glad to take your money, send it right on down to Austin and do what they're going to do down there. All right, shall we begin? Let's see. Texas Tech basketball last night. Give me your thoughts on the game. This team's won 5 in a row. Really could be six if you don't have the meltdown against Iowa State. Then overrated, underrated, rated right. Barbecue in Lubbock. Who do you love? Not necessarily hate. There might be some overrated. That's fine. Barbecue's beautiful. The barbecue rankings, everybody's got your own rankings. Go where you want to go. And then tell me the first Super Bowl you remember as a kid. Mine, I want to say Super Bowl 10. All right. Cowboys, Steelers, 76. I want to say that, but really I was just this much too young to really say. The next year, though, the Vikings and the Raiders, everything about that day I remember. Everything about that game, everything about that day, I remember. And then, of course, Super Bowl 12 with the Cowboys and the Broncos. Yeah. Now, 10, yeah, I was watching it. But the first one really for me would be Super Bowl 11, if we want to go with that. So that's the Super Bowl hype question tonight. We should probably mention, we talked about it last night briefly. I know the game was going on. If you want to talk about the idea of Tech losing James Blanchard as the recruiting director slash general manager for football, fire away. Give me your thoughts. Anything else? Until it happens, I'm not going to weigh in too heavy. All I'm going to say is you want people that other people want. And if Notre Dame is sniffing around and thinking we want James Blanchard, is there really a better complement to the program that Joey McGuire is putting together than something like that? That it's not like New Mexico State is trying to steal him away, right? All right, let's get some comments going. On the United Supermarkets text line tonight, the talking box is on. Indeed, it is. It is. On a windy, blustery late January night, the talking box is on. Jared, overrated barbecue. Rudy's, rated right. The Shack, underrated barbecue. Bigham's Smokehouse on Milwaukee. All right, so Bigham's Frito pie. Now you can get whatever you want to when you go there, but I'm telling you, Bigham's barbecue Frito pie. Yeah. Shack is underrated. Really? Shack, that's out there on North, what is it? North 19th? 19th? Not 19th. Not North University, right? See, no, not University. What the hell? Frankfurt. Totally lost my roads out there. Been out there for a while, changed ownership. I think it's going on. And then overrated Rudy's? Really? Overrated Rudy's. Man, them's fighting words to me because Rudy's, well, one, they were a great partner with us back in the day on the radio show. So full disclosure. But two, they do the best smoked turkey. And I got on, and I should probably go there more often. But their smoked turkey on a baked potato with barbecue sauce, I don't know, Jared. I don't know what you've been having out there. That's pretty good stuff. Danny gets in on Facebook. We got Facebook. We got YouTube. Right now, it's Raiderland on YouTube. Everybody watching, if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please do so. Don't cost nothing. We get over 500, it just blows up. Everything that you guys do, the YouTube people subscribe to Facebook. Everybody's on Twitter, I think, at Ryan Hyatt Media. If you're not, you should be. But it just grows it. It makes it more fun. It makes it better. And do that for our great sponsors like Shropshire Agency tonight, like Lifts West and Red River, like United Supermarkets, that the best thing you can do for our sponsors is to grow the community. Walking distance from the slopes. But I'll head to Bull of the Woods. I can't ski. Yeah. Well, it's walking distance to Bull of the Woods. And for the most part, going is downhill. Now, coming back home from Bull of the Woods, it's a little uphill. And somehow it always seems a little colder and a little windier, you know? Chris, first Super Bowl I remember, talking about Super Bowl hype tonight, the first Super Bowl you really remember, Bills and Giants. So, yeah, I'm at a Super Bowl party that night. It had an odd combination of people who were in Texas Tech Mass Communications, grad school, and Texas Tech track and field. Thanks to a guy, he was a high jumper. I'm not going to use his name, but it was, well, okay. So at his apartment, this is really cool. He kept a chart on his door in the apartment of how high he was jumping, and it had marks on it. You know, that was really neat. That was when I still went to Super Bowl parties. I'm not a Super Bowl party kind of guy unless it's at my house and I can control the environment. Like here next week, I would be happy to have people at my house come out, you know, do whatever, but I control the environment. Back then, you know, we're still going to parties. Heck, back then you were still going out. You would go to a sports bar. You go somewhere to watch it. And then now today, the Super Bowl is one of the worst days of the year for a lot of sports bars and restaurants, other than say maybe the wing places that are doing to go orders and everything else like that. But I mean, it's a stay home kind of deal. Truly is. So the first Super Bowl you remember, what was it? What game? What do you remember about that? That's the Super Bowl hype question. We're required by law, by the Federal Communications Commission, to do every day between the end of the divisional conference championship games until the Super Bowl. Super Bowl hype questions. We have basketball to talk about. Good 10-point win. And I'll give you some numbers here on Texas Tech before we get out tonight. I want to get your thoughts on what you're liking about this team, what you're liking about where they're going, what they're doing, how they're playing right now. I love the fact, though, that they're kind of under the radar, that nobody's really talking about Texas Tech, that you played on the projected seeds on, hoopshd.com, Dave Almonds, Bracketville.wordpress.com, the two best at projecting the NCAA tournament field, that you're sitting there a rock solid 7, and 2.5, 3 weeks ago, you were outside the bubble. You've won 5 in a row, could be 6, could be more. But nobody's really talking about Tech. I like that. That's a good thing, I think. Chris, too many Super Bowl parties, comma, distract you from actually watching the game. I agree that a good party needs to have about 3 elements. The hardcore guys who are watching the game around the TV and not distracted. The kitchen women. Yep. Magpies. Yep. Go to the kitchen. The outdoor people who are blowing stuff up. That's a pretty good mix right there. Watching the game, magpies, blowing stuff up. Underrated, overrated, rated right tonight, Lubbock Barbecue. Alan Corbin is in on YouTube. Underrated, Wiley's. Yeah. Go over there. Properly rated, Evie Mays. I like the way you say properly rated right, because they've got so many accolades. It's hard to be above it. And they really have achieved that, They truly have. Did I hear you invite people out for a Super Bowl? No, I would not do that. What are you listening to? Obviously listening to another show. Glenn, 1972 Super Bowl, Dallas 24, Miami 3. Bob Greasy running for his life. Bob Lilly finally getting the redemption that he needed out of the previous Super Bowl against the Colts. Yeah, I was alive. I was probably propped up somewhere in the living room while Dad's watching that and everything else, but not the one I can remember. Not the first one at all. Although you see so many NFL films, and this is where it gets dicey, right? On the first one you really remember, that you really, really remember on your own brain versus what you've seen. Danny, having difficulty trying to listen here while also trying to listen to that hasty guy on the radio, but curious to see if comments on the Blackhawk plane crash intersects on both shows. I'll tell you this, it will not, because mine are going to be completely different, and the perspective I have will be completely different. I can assure you of that. 100%. Meanwhile, back at the comments on Facebook. Facebook good. YouTube good tonight. Twitter people, where are my Twitter people? We get hundreds and hundreds of people watching on Twitter every night. Where are my Twitter comments? You guys can get in on the United Supermarkets text line, no problem. Say, I got a guy calling in right now. Friend of mine. He knows I'm on the air. I'm like, dude, I'm on the air. I should answer the phone, but I can't do that. First Super Bowl, says Craig, I remember Super Bowl 20 with the Bears and the Patriots. Was that 20? 20? Golly. I remember that my mom made me go to church, so I missed the first half. Still mad at her about that. She couldn't understand why I like Jim McMahon. That's funny. So were they, oh, okay, so it's Sunday night, right? And you got to go to church. Did they not have a church party or anything? Nothing going on? By that time, most churches were having, the awkward junior high youth party that you could have gone to. Alan, Rudy's and Bigums are properly rated too. Both have great dishes that elevate them to good. He said good. Good. ESPN Super Bowl memories with Steve Sable greatness. Yeah, so we would be, and I'm infinitely older than you, Chris. That was one of the things we would go watch. All right, so this is 1990. All right, 1991. This is before the advent of sports bars really in Lubbock. So I'm living down in Tech Terrace in that area, and you're just stone's throw away from the old Lone Star Oyster Bar there on 34th. So that was kind of our gathering place for a lot of tech folks and media guys and types and whatnot. So Monday Night Football, we would go there. They had like 3 TVs in the whole place, one over the bar, one maybe just 2. And then they had one kind of in the back room on the far right-hand side as you came in. Again, this is early 90s. All right. Not sports bar era. So the NFL Monday Night Football game would end at whatever time our time, like around 10, maybe 10:30, and then they would show on ESPN the old Super Bowl memories or NFL films, and we would stay there eating shrimp and we might have could have possibly had a beer or two, some chips and queso and everything else, man. Good stuff. Back in the day. Alan, Super Bowl 27, the first one I can remember. Dude, you got to give me the teams because anymore I cannot remember the actual year, 20s, the Roman numeral to the games anymore. Once you get past about Super Bowl 12 or 13, I'm done. Can't do it. The Twitter people are always invited. Every game, every day, they're invited. Oh yes, Dallas 52, Buffalo 17. That where did we watch that? I can't remember. I don't think I was on the road. No, I was on the road for the Redskins and the Bills in Ruston, Louisiana with Lady Raider basketball. That one, I'm pretty sure I was in town, but I think it was at a friend's apartment. It was like it was going to be a Super Bowl party, and all of a sudden it's like 3 couples, and in like one of the couples, I don't remember anybody knowing who it was, and it was just like, hey, halftime, gotta go, yeah, gotta get out of here. Good day, yeah, gotta go. I got a better shot of doing. I don't know. I used to be able to do the Super Bowls all the way up through 2000. I hadn't tried to do it in a long time. And why are we still doing the whole Roman numeral thing, which is still cool, but I mean, now we've reached the point in the Roman numeral deal where nobody knows. We don't know what it is. It's Super Bowl licks this year, whatever they're calling it. Danny, speaking of Sable, great memories of Steve Sable and Mel Allen. Mel Allen, the voice of the Yankees. Mel Allen, Mel Israel Allen. Huh? Whatever you remember. NFL films, Steve and Ed Sable. Great. And the great Mel Allen, voice of the Yankees. Mel Israel Allen. So Texas Tech basketball, the win last night solidified a few things. You are solidly a 7 seed right now, 100% a 7 seed. You are on Dave Almond's bracket on the 7 line. And here we are going into February with this Texas Tech team playing as good as anybody in the Big 12. You know, yet nobody talking about them nationally. And I think that's a perfect place for this team to be because they've still got a long ways to go. As I look at that dry erase calendar up there, a Baylor team that's not playing its best basketball after you go to Houston. You still got to make that little trip out to Arizona. Trust me, I've been out there. They know their basketball. You know, February. I'm looking at February. It's an interesting slate of games with Arizona State. The comeback at TCU. Interesting slate of games before you're done with the month. But I like where they are. You know. Danny, Melissa Allen, This Week in Baseball. That's right, Twib Notes with Melissa Allen. He finally gets there, Mel Allen. So This Week in Baseball, and Steve Sable, still waiting on the connection, but yeah. I'll get there. I'll get there in a minute. I'll get there before we get out of here. I'll close with my thoughts on the mid-air collision. All right. Don't worry. I want to give you guys as many opportunities to get in on your thoughts, comments about Tech basketball. Over, underrated, right? Lubbock barbecue. We got a lot of barbecue places, and for a while we didn't. You know, we had a lot in the 70s, 80s, early 90s and stuff. Then they kind of drifted away, and then all of a sudden now, you know, we got some really good ones. I mean, state ranked as it should be. The ones that are overrated, underrated, rated right. I am telling you though, Bigham's on the Frito pie, so good, so good. I think you're confusing Sable with John Facenda, the voice of God in NFL films. Stephen Edward, the producers. But yes, Mel Allen, This Week in Baseball. And if the Rangers ever popped up, by the way, in the 70s and early 80s, you were just like, the Rangers are on This Week in Baseball. Oh, it's because they lost 3 straight games to the White Sox. Yeah. But they were still on, you know? They're still on. It was like the 3 times a summer maybe you saw in the 70s the Rangers on, maybe the NBC baseball game of the week, or back in the day you had Monday night baseball, yeah, Monday night, Thursday night, Monday night baseball on ABC, which had some great, incredible announcers from Jack the Gunner Kiner. They're out of Pittsburgh. You had, by the way, you had Bob Euchre on there. You had Keith Jackson doing baseball on ABC. It was some really good stuff. Earl Weaver jumped in the booth later on, years later. Craig, I really missed the county line. Tom and Bingos and Whistling Dixie. All good ones. Although now at the county line, it's Escondido Grill. And I got to give a shout out to those folks. Last week, they did a tribute to Furr's not supermarket, but Furr's cafeteria. And they had an entire night themed around menu items from Furr's cafeteria. Jason and Byron Waters out there at Escondido Grill. Good job, guys. I didn't see, I saw this late on Facebook, and, had I kind of had a little more heads up in my brain or anything else, and, been willing to plop down the money or whatever, not plop down the money, but just make it happen. Holy cow. What a great idea. And we were talking with some friends. What a tremendous idea if you're a restaurant in Lubbock, Texas, doing throwback menu nights, right? Throwback menu nights. not Mennonites. That's totally different. And you don't want to be throwing Mennonites around. That's illegal. You will get arrested. But a throwback menu once a month, once every 2 months. Think about all the great restaurants you could come back and do. You could do the Brittany menu or Zider Z or Gridiron or, 50-yard line or something like that. You do the Brittany, you could do guard skis. That you could have a night where you come back and you bring back that menu. Because everybody romanticizes restaurants that are gone. And it always kind of makes me chuckle a little bit because, the reason they're gone for the most part, you guys quit going there. You quit eating there at the restaurant. They went out of business. Oh, we loved it. They were awesome. I can't believe it went out of business. No, yeah, nobody ate there. But here's to Escondido Grill doing that cool tribute to Furr's Cafeteria. I think it'd be the grilled chop, steak, mushrooms, maybe a little Jello salad, something like that. Be pretty good. All right, over underrated right here on a Thursday. Lubbock barbecue. Get yours in tonight. Basketball thoughts. I want to hear from you. Super Bowl hype. The first Super Bowl you remember watching. That actually you can remember. What would it be? Pistol Pete's Pizza. Pistol Pete's or Showbiz, right? Maybe one of those. I mean, we still got CC's, I think, don't we? We still got that. Let's see. Coming in off the Facebook page. No, not Facebook. YouTube channel. John Evie Mae's best barbecue, so he's going on the best. I guess is that rated right then? Certainly not overrated, not underrated. No one had better green beans than Furr's. Yeah, I agree. We didn't know how good we had it, right? We didn't know how good we had it. All right, so my thoughts on the DC air collision last night. I'm going to take this approach a little bit different, maybe, than some folks who have sounded off today or otherwise, trying to ascribe blame, understanding what happened, what didn't happen, what do we need to know, and everything else. When I first saw the news last night, and it was trickling in, and then saw that there were apparently numerous members of the United States skating community otherwise. So we had a sports angle to it. That's where it kind of brought it back home to me. So here's how I view this. One, I hated flying, and I had to do it for 25 years or so, covering Texas Tech with basketball, baseball, and anything else I had to do. I hated it from day one. I hated it to the day I quit doing it. I hated flying. I hated it. It scared the crap out of me, and I didn't like it. But I accepted it. I had to do it. And there were numerous times over the years where I was sitting on a plane thinking, I really want to get off this plane. I don't know what's going to happen. And there were probably a handful of times where I really, really felt like I want to get off this plane. I don't like where we are. So we come back to last night, and you hear about the members of the Figure Skating Association and others that are involved in this. And this is what brings it back to the sporting aspect for me. And I go back to the day that we lost the 10 members of the travel party from Oklahoma State in 2000, in late January 2000. And then a few years later, it would happen again with Kurt Budke, the women's basketball coach, on a recruiting trip. But, that day that the Oklahoma State tragedy occurred, they were flying out of Colorado, coming back to Stillwater. We were in Lubbock that day with freezing rain trying to get to Norman, Oklahoma. And we sat there on the runway. We sat there getting de-iced multiple times. And we're delayed and we're delayed and we're delayed. Are we going to get out of here? Or are we not going to get out of here? We're on our charter flight, coming out of Chaparral, and God bless them. They know how to take care of you over there. So finally we get out of there. And, I'm sitting there thinking that day, and we're all, the same thing. This sucks. We got an early game tomorrow. It was going to be a noon or 1 o'clock tip off. We've lost our ability to go to Norman, Oklahoma to have a shoot around, a workout the day before. We're not going to have a shoot around in the morning. We're going to go in cold. It's going to suck. This sucks. Everything sucks. Hate this. And so we finally get out of Lubbock and we land in Norman, and you get off the charter and they bring the bus right up to the plane. You throw your bags on the plane. Off the plane onto the bus. Get on the bus takes you normally, we would be probably going to the arena or something like that to work out, or the hotel. But by that time, that night, it's, hey, we're going to go eat. So we're going to the Outback there in Norman, Oklahoma. God bless the Outback, right next to the hotel. And as we're, because we've been sitting on a plane. Remember, this is early 2000. This is January 2000. This is not, everything on your phone, not internet, not anything going on. We've been flying blind literally for almost 12 hours sitting around. And as soon as we get on the bus and we're heading to Outback to eat, the cell phones for some of the coaches and the admins on our travel party start blowing up. And I'm sitting at the up there at the front of the bus and whatever and everything else, and we're driving short drive from the little FBO there in Norman there to the Outback Steakhouse, and you can just kind of tell something is off. Something's not right. So we get there, and Coach Sharp's on her phone. Our senior women's administrator, I believe, was with us, is on her phone. A couple of other people are on their phones, talking to people, and you can just tell something's going on. Players are getting off. No, they don't know. They're getting off, going in. Coaches getting them in. I'm one of the last ones off the plane with Coach Sharp and one of our admins. And, I'm looking at Coach Sharp, and she says, "We've lost a plane." We've lost a plane. And I'm like, what do you mean we've lost? I said, Oklahoma State's lost a plane. Now you still don't know. And I'm literally coming off the bus. They're still on the phones. They stay on the bus. We go in, we get the team in, we get, in there, we're getting our meal and everything. And at that point, the news is beginning to break in Oklahoma City that an Oklahoma State plane has gone down or is missing. Details are literally trickling in, and they're breaking in. And now our players, we're seeing, everybody's seeing it, and it's a horrible weather night there in Norman, just like it was everywhere else around that day. And so there's not many people in there. So you can hear, how you're in a restaurant and the TVs are on and you can't hear anything or whatever, but no, you could hear, and it gets more and more quiet and nobody's talking and everybody's watching. You can hear the TVs as they begin to explain that, plane carrying 10 members of the Oklahoma State basketball team travel party. At that point, still wasn't, completely certain. And then it becomes certain that it had gone down outside of Boulder, and, that 10 people were dead. And you go and you have your meal and you realize the day you've been through and the weather you've been through, and you're thankful. And you go to the hotel and you wake up the next morning, you go play a basketball game, and then you get on a plane again to go home. in not so good weather. So all of that to say that as um, those first stories were breaking last night, and then I heard the story about this figure skating team that it brought back, the memories of that I have that I have been in that position of wondering who of my friends were on that plane, and I won't say friends, people in the business I knew. Um, it didn't even matter on some of it, but people in the business I knew and people that we were, it's a community in sports. And I'm thinking, last night as this is coming in, of all the people that are sitting there last night going, who's on that plane that I know? Who's on the plane that I know? Who within the skating community or otherwise? And I'm not minimizing anybody else that was on that plane and their family members. I'm talking about it from my experience of knowing that a plane went down and there's somebody on there that I know is probably dead. And that's where I went to last night. And it never left me and it never left us and any of us who traveled in sports for a living or anything, and particularly in the dead of winter around this part of the country, that you just kind of knew, you shoved it aside. You knew it wasn't always safe, maybe. Just shoved it aside. And then last night, a lot of those memories came back to me. A lot of those memories came back to me, and a lot of those memories came back to me, and it reminded me again why it was really very easy for me in 2016 when I made the decision to not do Lady Raider games anymore and not travel anymore like that. That wasn't exactly the reason, 100% the reason, but it was just one more reason why it was so easy for me to say, I'm going to follow my kid's stuff. I'm going to pay attention to his stuff now, and I think I'm going to stay home for a while. So you wanted my thoughts and perspective on that and what happened last night. There you go. But last night, I could put myself in the place of so many people that were going, who's on that plane? Who is it? And that you knew it was going to be somebody you knew because we were all there that night in Norman, Oklahoma in late January of 2000. I want to thank you guys for watching the show. I appreciate it. I want to thank all our great advertisers. If you want to do something for us tonight, share this with your friends. They're on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media. On YouTube, easy to do on YouTube. Everybody subscribe, hit thumbs up, do all that stuff, and on Facebook as well. We'll have this on the website here pretty soon. You can share it on that. We'll be back with you in the morning. Find out the most Texan thing you have done this week. That's what we do. I want to thank all of our great advertisers. I want to thank you guys mainly. We'll see you guys tonight. You can hit us tonight. We'll still be on Twitter at Ryan Hyatt Media for a little while longer tonight and get everything posted up. Thanks for being out there.